CBS News. Two major airlines are facing strike deadlines. One has arrived. The other is an hour from now. This is Doug Poling reporting on the CBS Radio Network. About 5,800 ground workers at Pan American World Airways have threatened to walk out at this hour as talks continue in New York. The company would not say if Pan Am flights will be grounded if there is a strike. An hour from now, pilots are scheduled to walk out at Northwest Airlines. Those talks broke down in Minneapolis on Friday, and pilot union spokesman Gene Cragness gave their version of why.
In actuality, the mediator delivered a demand by Northwest Airlines that we substantially pare down our list of open issues as a precondition to returning to negotiations. This demand by Northwest was totally unrealistic and unacceptable.
But Roy Erickson, vice president of Northwest, blames the union for the collapse of talks.
The breakdown was caused by the pilots' union refusal to submit a written listing of unresolved issues together with the union's position on these open issues and rejecting the National Mediation Board's request. Pilot union officials have made it impossible for constructive talks to continue at this time.
Northwest is the nation's seventh largest airline, flying about 10 million passengers a year. More news in a moment.
Say, have you heard the latest on Delta Super Saver fares?
I know, I can't believe it. They're so low.
Well, believe it. If you catch a Delta night coach, you can fly for 40 to 50% off the regular day tourist fare on round trips.
40% off on weekends, and wow, 50% off on weekdays.
Or if you take a daytime flight, you can get 30 to 40% off regular day tourist on Delta round trips.
Isn't it something? 30% off on weekends and 40% off on weekdays? I love it.
Yeah, no big strings either. You just make your reservation and buy your ticket 30 days ahead of time and stay for 7 to 45 days at wherever you're going. Super Saver fares are good to any Delta city in the U.S. Of course, there's a limited number of seats.
Oh, I better call Delta or the travel agent now.
When fares get this low, you just gotta go.
FBI Director William Webster says the Bureau is investigating 574 cases involving possible corruption by past and present public officials. Webster did not name any of them. He said the investigations date back 3 to 4 years and involve senators, congressmen, governors, state legislators, mayors, and local police officials. The chairman of a House subcommittee that oversees the FBI says Webster's statement slanders hundreds of unnamed public officials. Democrat Don Edwards of California says he'll take action.
We'll have Director Webster at a hearing very soon and ask him why he is following this course of conduct, because I'm sure that all the members of the subcommittee and indeed the full committee will disagree strongly with this kind of behavior.
Edwards says Webster's statement smacks of McCarthyism. In Seoul, sources at the South Korean Foreign Ministry have told CBS News the pilot and the navigator from a Korean airliner downed in Russia will be turned over to the U.S. consul in Leningrad about midday Saturday. Soviet authorities held the two crewmen for questioning when they released the passengers and the rest of the crew last Sunday. The Korean jet was forced down by Soviet military planes after straying into Soviet territory last week. A New York congressman says the forced resignation of Major General John Singlaub is a frightening and disturbing development that places a cloud over the leadership of the Army, the Pentagon, and the White House. Democrat Samuel Stratton, chairman of the Armed Services Subcommittee on Investigations, says military officers should not be fired for expressing the truth. Singlaub was called to the Pentagon Friday after he criticized President Carter's decision not to build the neutron bomb. Shortly after his meeting with top brass, he announced his retirement. Friday night, Singlaub said in Atlanta, "I have no regrets." Funeral services are to begin Saturday for the victims of the scaffolding collapse that killed 51 workers Thursday near St. Mary's, Virginia. Services are expected to continue until Tuesday. Federal safety officials are saying it could be several weeks before they're able to determine what caused the scaffolding to fall. A Chicago woman has been indicted and jailed on more than 500 counts of welfare fraud. She was charged with using 5 names to obtain $118,000 in welfare funds over a period of nearly 6 years. The Cook County Attorney's Office said this is the biggest welfare fraud case in Illinois history. The woman, 30-year-old Arlene Otis, is a University of Illinois graduate student in criminal justice. This is Doug Poling, CBS News.